Damn. I'm feeling so much power up in here all day. It's actually making me nervous. So I need to make sure I'm here with y'all. I need to make sure y'all are here with me. So we're gonna start with the Rise Up chant, but let's whisper it first. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. That feels like movement to me. That makes it so we're connected here, right? So before we start, I want to make sure to acknowledge the Tongva Nation, the Tongva peoples whose homelands we're on right now, because if we're talking about building power, then we also got to make sure that we're making space and honoring the indigenous peoples whose homelands we're on, and we're using our power to be their power too, right? So I want to make sure we do that. If you don't know who the Tongva are, do your Googles and you'll find out what's up. So I've been thinking about, right, since when I got invited, I'm going to look at my phone because I've been taking notes throughout the day. And I've been thinking about, rising up, and hearing the chants up here. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure if y'all get the sense that y'all are the power, right? Because if Fidel, if myself, anybody else that's been up here, if we yell out, rise up, and y'all ain't here to yell it back, what we look like? We look like fools up here, right? So the power isn't coming from the stage, the power is coming from y'all. And so I want to make sure you see that, you feel that, you realize that, right? We're all connected in that chant. We're all connected in this experience right here today. So when thinking about connections, because that's one of the themes that's been coming up a lot today, and telling the truth, I've been thinking about what connected me to this space right here, what enabled me to be here with y'all today. And I've been thinking about who told me the truth, and when I think back, my mom told me the truth, right? My mom told me the truth. And I cuss a lot. That's because my mom told me the truth a lot while she was cussing, right? So just if it comes out, sorry to all the teachers or anybody else. My grandma told me the truth. And some of the truth they told me was we're responsible for our communities. The way that you're part of a community is that you contribute to the community. If you're not contributing to the health and well-being of a community, then you're not part of that community. That was one of the major truths that continues to guide my life today. They also told me that politicians are mendigos perros, right? But that was another truth that if they hadn't told me that, I would have found that out on my own, to be honest, right? So I also think about another truth, a truth telling, a truth source in my life, and that was culture. Because if my mom was telling me stuff, right, and my grandma's telling me stuff, as a young person, there's a little distance there too. So I'm also not trying to hear everything they're trying to say, to be honest, right? I'm like, yeah, you're talking all that, but like, I'm also out here, right? So it was a trip today to get the call from Fidel, who I've been listening to since like 99, Divine Forces Radio at midnight on Fridays, right? It was a trip to learn that 2Mex was going to perform, because I've been listening to him since 99. He's one of my truth tellers, right? That youth culture that was built before I arrived into it, that I continued to contribute to, that was a source of truth. And so I need to make sure that y'all understand that you all hold culture. You don't just consume culture, you hold culture and you share culture, right? That's an important responsibility that you all have, because ain't no culture like youth culture, right? Youth culture is the vibration of the world in a lot of cases, right? So when 2Mex was up in my ear, right, I was also plotting with the homies when we would go to shows at the knitting factory or wherever else, right? We were plotting walkouts at our schools, right? Yeah, we were also blazing it, I'm not going to lie, right? But then we were having deep conversations on how fucked up the situations are, right? We were promoting that culture amongst each other. So you're not just somebody who accepts the truth. You all got to be truth tellers. You got to be somebody else's source of the truth. Does that make sense? That's why you're here today. Y'all went to workshops. Y'all hearing speakers and culture. Y'all participating in dialogues. It's to help build a truth culture. You feel that? Cool. So that truth is what's going to connect us. Because the reality is, trauma is what connects us. Right? Whether it's our money being stolen and given to police who are riding down on us, our families, our communities, right? Or if it's a lot of the work that we focus on, our communities are literally being poisoned. Our communities are literally being poisoned. This ain't a metaphor. There's people who die every year in LA, roughly about 2,000, just from breathing the air. They're not dying in Santa Monica like that. They're not dying in Pasadena like that. They're dying along the 710 freeway, along the 110, right? Down by the ports and the refineries, that's where they're dying. And decisions are made for us to die. There's a government agency that's supposed to protect our air and health, and they make decisions that allow us to die. Not metaphorically. That number, that close to 2,000, they're the ones that give us that number. Right? If I'm a company and I'm going to go and I'm like, yo, I want to start up, they're going to say, well, how much poison you're going to put in the air? How much poison you're going to put in the water? How much poison you're going to put in the land? Because we got to make sure it's just not too much poison. But if you come to our neighborhoods, this building's got poison, that building's got poison, that building's got poison, then it's my school, then that building's got poison, then that building got poison, then that's my church, then that building got poison, then that building got poison, and then it's my house. That's what we're dealing with in our communities, right? And we think that shit's normal. We think that shit's normal. Because it just is what it is. We grow up in it, right? So we like to tell folks, that shit ain't normal. It's been normalized. We've been made to think it's normal. Right? I heard there's folks from Venice up in the house, right? My partner went to Venice, but she busted from Crenshaw. So she saw the change in communities riding that bus out to Venice. Right? She saw the difference of how people lived. She saw the conditions we're forced to live under and the conditions that others are allowed to live in. She saw that, right? So part of that is seeing the truth, right? Part of that is sometimes we're not told the truth. Sometimes we got to start to see and understand through the cracks of the lies what the truth is, and then we got to be the source of truth for others. Does that make sense? And when we're able to do that, then we become connections, right? We become connections. We become teachers, right? So there's folks that brought you up here in the house today who are actual like licensed teachers who get to be up in your classroom, right? But Fidel was my teacher. He was never up in my school, but he was my teacher. Right? The young folks from East Yard up in here, they're my teachers. Right? The folks that we build and grind with in our communities to build power to fight back against the government agencies, against the politicians themselves, against these corporations. Right? Those are my teachers. And so what I want to make sure is that y'all in here, you're not just here to get a free day from school. Right? You're here to become a teacher. You're here to become a source of truth. You're here to become a connection. Are y'all ready to accept that responsibility? Yeah? So who's going to start the next Rise Up chant? Yell that out. Who else is ready? Somebody over here. I need somebody up here in the front. Somebody in the back too. I'll take it. Somebody in the back row. I need the BG soccer team. One more time. That's what's up, because it's going to take every single one of us. Ain't nobody coming to save us, right? I always tell folks, we're not as cute as penguins. My babies are. The rest of y'all not. My babies are. But we're not, right? We're not as cute as penguins or dolphins or whales or polar bears, right? Ain't no white folks with a lot of money coming to save us. We got to be the ones to fight. We got to be the truth for our mothers and our grandmothers and our babies. We got to be that truth. Right? So y'all ready to be the truth tellers? That's what's up.
Give it up for Mark Lopez. East Side Yard Communities for Environmental Justice.